One of my aunts was a cattle owner. And she always told me, the stories that she heard that the Spaniards brought the cattle over, and a lot of them, ran away, and then a lot of the Seminoles captured the cattle and then just started working with them, and some actually worked for the Spaniards, and that's how my grandfather explained it to me. So when we got our own, we're already knowledgeable about cattle. My grandfather has always been in ranching as far as I can remember. I don't exactly when they started, like 1934 once, always rolled around in my head, but there's sort of a misunderstanding that the cattle was basically given to the Seminole people, and they weren't. They were actually purchased by the government, but they were sold to us, because when I was a little girl and be able to read from my grandfather, when he got his bill, he wanted to know exactly which line item was, describing what. So I saw right at the top that $2 a head came off of his bill to send back to the government to pay for these cattle that, my grandfather and them started with. So the cattle was just not given to us. We actually purchased the cattle that my grandfather and them started with. After I learned to read and write in English, that's when I did most of my translating and helped my grandfather a lot, and then started getting into going with him to the cattle meetings and everything else. And they started having rules and regulations that they were reading, and I was translating those to them in our language and what it meant. I got to learn the ins and outs of it, different things that they were doing, improving on the cattle all the time, and introducing new breeds and the whole 9 yards. So I actually got to see a lot of that stuff growing up. And I've always been interested in raising cattle. I used to tell my grandpa that I want my own herd, and I want to be just like you. And he said, well, all you have to do is just apply, and whatever your heart says, that's what you got to do. So I've always been interested in owning my own cattle. I'm the 3rd generation cattle owner in my family. My daughter will be the 4th, and my granddaughter will be the 5th. So I'm very excited that I had a daughter and that I could keep the female ranching keep going. I just feel like this is a legacy that belongs to my grandfather, and knowing that this legacy is going to continue, it's just a neat situation.